Okie dokie. We're recording on the camera. We're recording on the camera. And I'm so sweaty because it's this like damn LA heat wave, so I'm like, hey everybody, what's going on? It's Riley Rose, and today I want to talk a little bit about why I made this video game channel. So obviously I made this channel because I really love video games and I love talking about them. But I also created this because I wanted to see more of stuff that I wasn't seeing in gamer culture. And what I mean by that is that I haven't ever really seen a YouTube gaming channel that has like more than one girl, or is really female-led or LGBTQ-led, or is about and specifically focuses on LGBTQ and female representation and people who are in the gaming world. So this channel has definitely just become a space for me to vent about video games and also talk about representation, which is something that is super important to me. I want to really look at representation now, where representation is going in the future, and how it can be better. And I think to do both of those things, we also have to go back to the past a little bit. So buckle up everybody, because we're going back to the 1950s, where the first female video game designer was born. Carol Shaw was born in 1955 in Palo Alto, California. As a child, she excelled at math and science in school, and even started working in computers and software engineering as early as high school. Benji Edwards of Vintage Computing and Gaming had this to say about Carol Shaw. Carol Shaw was not your average American woman. She grew up in a world of technology and science traditionally ruled by men. She ignored implicit gender barriers and pursued what came naturally to her. She attended the University of California, Berkeley, and received a bachelor's in electrical engineering and a master's in computer science. And of course, she was one of the only females in the majority of her classes. At this time, the first commercial video game had just been released. It was called Computer Space, and it was Carol Shaw's favorite video game. But I mean, it kind of had to be because it was the only video game at the time. Carol's experience with software engineering and her interest in video games landed her a top position with Atari in August of 1978. And this position was as a video game designer. This was huge at the time, making her the first female video game designer ever. And this is what she had to say in an interview.
One remark by Ray Kossar, the president of Atari, when I started, he said, "Oh, finally we've got a woman game designer. She can do interior decorating and cosmetic color matching games."
Her first project with Atari was to design a polo video game that would be part of a release with Ralph Lauren's Polo Cologne. Atari ultimately decided not to release the game. And even though it was not commercially released, many institutions consider this game to be the first documented video game designed and programmed by a woman. Her next project came about in the 1970s with a 3D version of Tic-Tac-Toe. This game provided many challenges for Shaw, and this was largely because of how difficult the Atari was to program on. For the Atari, you actually have to generate each line of the display line by line and count how many cycles every instruction would take. This made the Atari really difficult to program, but on the other hand, it made the programming super flexible. I did a lot of research on this to try to understand it better, and honestly, that's just not the language I understand, so I'm assuming that if it was hard for Carol Shaw, it's incredibly difficult. This 3D tic-tac-toe game was released in the 1980s, and it's celebrated as the first video game designed by a woman. Carol Shaw worked on many other projects at Atari, including Video Checkers and Super Breakout. But then the video game industry began to take a turn and video game production slowed. When the industry took a hit, Carol Shaw decided to step away from video games. She left Atari to work for Tandem Computers, which had nothing to do with video games. After working with Tandem for only 2 years, she was recruited by Activision to join their team. And at this point, the video game industry was back on track. The first game that Carol Shaw made with the company is a super popular title on the Atari 2600, and it's the one that Carol is best known for. Carol Shaw was the designer and developer of River Raid. Most video games at the time would move screen by screen, but Carol Shaw developed a game with a scrolling format that allowed one screen to seamlessly move into the next. This game and its design earned Carol Shaw and River Raid multiple awards. Shaw eventually decided to return to Tandem in 1984, and then she retired in 1990 at the age of 35. Carol Shaw is absolutely a titan of this industry, and she is an inspiration to me, and I'm sure to many other women who are involved in video games now. She got in the industry, made an amazing game, made a new design for a video game that won her awards, and then just retired at 35 because she could. We probably wouldn't have as many women in video games as we do now if it wasn't for her. And according to a survey conducted last year in 2018 by IGN, only 22% of the industry is female. I'm just speaking from personal experience here, but I can't help but feel like that's because video games still are not that accessible for women. More meaning to say that video games are still caught in a cycle of men making video games that are marketed and made for men. I have heard the phrase, video games are for boys so many times throughout my life. In fact, one time, I got in trouble in high school because I used to bring my Nintendo DS to school and it got taken away. And when the teacher gave it back to me, he told me to give it back to whatever boy I took it from. He'd rather assume that I actually took somebody's game than have my own. And I do, it's this one, where is it? Thanks, Mom and Dad, for getting me this because I loved video games and begged for it and I wanted a cool design one. Yeah, this is the one that I brought to middle school. It has frickin' Pokemon Moon in it, great game. I also used to get in trouble with my brother all the time because I would sneak downstairs and play his games and I would mess up his kill-death ratios. I would accidentally clear some of his save files, but I was just so desperate to play video games and a lot of people told me that they weren't made for me. And now, I think it's a lot more acceptable. It's still there's a lot of gatekeeping in the video game world. Because to me, I feel like if you are somebody who just plays any sort of game, you can consider yourself a gamer. That's just my personal opinion. If you play Tetris on your phone every single day and it's your game and you love it super a lot and you want to call yourself a gamer, go ahead. Tetris is the #1 video game in the world. If you are somebody who only plays Nintendo, I grew up on Nintendo, doesn't mean I'm not a gamer, it doesn't mean you're not a gamer. That's why I really admire Carol Shaw. Really, she went into an industry that was not for her at the time and she just did her thing and she did it so well. She retired at 35, for God's sake. She is proof that anybody could be a gamer. That's a thesis statement for my YouTube channel, I feel like. Anybody can be a gamer. I am a gamer. Other girls can be a gamer. Other gay people can be a gamer. Gamer? Did I say gamer? Trans women are women. So when I say women can be gamers, that includes them. Non-binary people can be gamers. If you only love Nintendo, you can be a gamer. If you only love Xbox, you can be a gamer. If you've only ever played Sonic Heroes, that's a stretch, but you can be a gamer. Wow, I don't know how I just got off on that tangent, but anyways, I love women succeeding in industries that they're not expected to. I wouldn't probably have this video game channel if it wasn't for Carol Shaw, so I thank her, I love her. If you're out there, maybe you watch it, I don't know, maybe if you know Carol Shaw, send it to her. I don't know what the odds are, but this was really fun and I had a lot of fun learning about her. So if you know somebody, if you have an idea of somebody who is a very unique, influential minority game developer, writer, maybe they're disabled, that would be so cool. Any of the above, if you just think that there's somebody that I should research and make a video about, let me know because I would love to do that. And I'd love to learn about more people who are really pushing boundaries in this industry. That's it. That's all I got for today. I feel like I got kind of off topic at the end, but yeah, go Carol Shaw, go women in video games, go queer people in video games. We're here and we're kind of making some noise now. Make sure you subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. Follow me on Instagram, follow me on Twitter, comment, turn the notification bells on. It's really sweaty, so I'm get out of here. Bye.